This is Nick Haddad with Bird Conservancy of the Rockies, and in this video I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough on how to add an external cellular or Wi-Fi antenna to an existing Motus station. A couple of things you'll need to get started are the antenna itself. We typically use this ProxyCast antenna that's good for both Wi-Fi and cellular frequencies. We already have it hooked up here to a small spool of LMR 400 low loss cable with a Type N male connector on the station side. You'll need a UFL jumper, some coaxial, and you might potentially need an extra bulkhead for your station if you don't have any spares. So once you've identified your station enclosure box in the field, you can do this by looking for where all of the antenna cables are coming in and connecting to each of these bulkhead connectors here. You'll open it up and you'll see something pretty similar to this. Right now this station is powered on and it has the original cellular and Wi-Fi antennas attached to it. Right here, this silver square is the cellular modem, and this connector and this cable running up to this black antenna here is the cellular antenna. And this silver square is the Wi-Fi modem, and that little guy is the Wi-Fi antenna. So in cases where these antennae are not picking up strong enough signal for the station to reliably stay connected to the internet, we need to add an external antenna. To get started, we're going to turn off the station with the black power switch here. And I am going to be adding on a Wi-Fi antenna. So to start, I'm going to pull off the existing Wi-Fi antenna. You can do that by just grabbing onto the cable near the connector and just pulling towards you, and it pops right off. Then, using your UFL jumper, and UFL is just the name of that connector there, you're going to attach one end of the jumper to the port that you just took the existing antenna off of. To do that, you'll line the connector up square with that open port, and something like that. And you'll give it a firm press with one finger square on the connector, and you should feel it pop on. I'm going to pause the video to do that. Okay, so I got one end of the connector on, and a quick test to make sure that it's seated properly is you can take this cable and rotate it around, and it should stay connected. It should not pop off while you do that. Then you're going to take the other end of your cable and connect it to this UFL port above the cellular modem, labeled J22 right here. Not every board is labeled with that J22, but the port should still be in the same location. And again, I'll pause the video while I do this. Okay, now our second side is attached, and we'll do the same test by rotating it around a little bit, and we can see that the connector is on there. Nice and good. So the next step is going to be to actually install your antenna. These antennas come with a pair of U-bolts that you can use on this bracket here, and that works really well to mount the antenna to a mast or a pipe or anything round. Another option is using some lag bolts like we see here, and you can use lag bolts and attach it right to a wooden pole or something else. But essentially, you just want a nice strong attachment onto typically whatever structure is hosting the rest of the antennas of the Motus station. Once you have that attached and pointed in the direction of the strongest signal, whether it be cell or Wi-Fi, you'll run your cable down and you will use the type N connector, male end coming from the antenna, and you'll find an open bulkhead or install a new one. In this case, we can see this one here is left over, it's not being used, and if we follow it down, it's going to be this connection right here. So we're going to take our connector and screw it onto that connection right there. Once your connection is complete, you'll want to follow the bulkhead into the box, take your loose end, and screw it onto the SMA connection right above that J22 port. Once you've screwed that on, you've successfully replaced the antenna, whether it be for your Wi-Fi modem or cellular. If you were to do a cellular antenna, the process would be exactly the same, where you pop off this antenna from this main UFL port, and you would attach the end of your UFL jumper, rather than attaching it to the Wi-Fi modem, you'd attach it to that main port of the cellular modem. So in this case, everything's hooked up, and you're going to turn your station back on. Once you've waited for the menu to reappear on the screen, you want to use the navigation buttons. Go down to Network and use the right button to select. In this case, we strengthened our Wi-Fi signal. To check Wi-Fi connection, you want to go to the IP address menu, and you can see that WLAN 0 IP address appears. That means that we have a successful internet connection. I can also go back a screen, go down to ping the internet, and it'll say connected. If you performed a cell signal strengthen, you can do the same process by going to Network, going to Cellular, going down to Carrier, and this station is not set up for cell right now, but on a station that is set up for cell, you'll see some carrier information here and a signal strength. And that signal strength should be stronger now that you've installed an external antenna. So you want to make note of those numbers, and if you're doing Wi-Fi, you want to make note of that IP address. But in any case, whether you're doing Wi-Fi or cell, you can go down to ping, and it should say internet connected. The final step, once everything's done and you've closed your station back up, is to use some coax seal and seal up this connection here. Anything that's shiny should be sealed up. And if you're if you're adding this to an existing station, you should see that the rest of the connections are already sealed up, so you'll want to just match how those look. And you can never use too much coax seal, so once it's all sealed and waterproofed up, you'll be good to go.